What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be reviewing and breaking down The Flash Season 8, Episode 6. So yeah, guys, after like a 3-month break, The Flash is finally back, and yeah, I'm really excited to see what else they've got for us this season. But anyways, let's start reviewing the episode. So guys, of course, the episode starts where we left off in Season 7. We knew that would happen. So yeah, everyone's at the West House, and after that, Nora and Bart time travel back to 2049. But when they finally time travel back to 2049, a time, wave comes over them, and that, basically changes the timeline. That shows timeline changes, and they notice that Jay is now alive in 2049. Obviously, he doesn't age as fast because he's a speedster, so that's how he can, still be alive in 2049. And obviously, before that, in 2049, he recently died. So yeah, Nora explains that when they helped Barry and company stop Godspeed, they changed the timeline, obviously. Jay also says that he was saved by Impulse before Godspeed had a chance to kill him, unlike the other timeline where Jay was originally killed by Godspeed. So then Nora and Bart go to the Flash Museum to find out what happened, what messed up, what did they do, and they find out that they erased Joan Garrett from existence. So they look for things that, were changed in the timeline. They also have a little bit of a Booster Gold reference as well. Obviously, he was recently introduced on Legends of Tomorrow Season 7. I'm excited to see, what else they might have with him, because he's a pretty interesting character if you guys have seen him on Smallville. But anyways, they end up seeing in all these past newspapers that Joe was shot during Christmas 2013. So that's where the change happens, they say. So that's where they travel back in time. And we see a little scene with Joe and Cecile before they were together. That scene, it was whatever. I just kind of ignored that. But after that, we see Eddie THAWNE finally come back. Obviously, he's going to be appearing later this season in a quote-unquote unexpected way. So I'm excited to see what else will happen with him. Maybe he'll end up being a villain. Who knows? I think we all want to see him be somebody like Cobalt Blue. So I'm really looking forward to that. So yeah, Eddie has an encounter with Bart and Nora, and basically just asks them, what they're doing here, and they tell them that they are intern CSIs, just like back in Season 5 when Nora was staying with Barry and Iris. She told Captain Singh that she was a intern CSI, and yeah, basically the reason for them being intern CSIs was that Barry was in a coma, so they were, short CSIs. So then Joe and Eddie are at the scene of a robbery where Joe is about to get shot, but we see a really cool Flash time scene with Bart and Nora. I feel like it's been a while since we've seen a scene like that on The Flash, and Bart then saves Joe before he gets shot. However, we do hear Nora say that, Bart basically made things worse, because obviously when you mess with something in the timeline, then a lot of other things can be messed up. Eventually, we get a pretty cool flashback scene of seeing Barry getting struck by lightning as, Bart is sort of reminiscing about, what must have happened when Barry was struck by lightning. They go up to Barry's crime lab as they are, reviewing some footage in regards to how the timeline could have been made worse when they saved Joe. And we see that the Royal Flush Gang as some of the first few metahumans, and, one of the members of the Royal Flush Gang was there. And to be honest, I think they definitely should have brought back a different villain. Like maybe we see like a little Leonard Snart bank robbery happening. Like maybe before he eventually becomes Captain Cold, we see him just, as a normal criminal. I think that would be pretty cool. Now, we also do see Bart and Nora go and visit Barry while he's in his coma at the hospital, which I think, I was really hoping we'd see that. I thought that was really cool. So back, right after Bart and Nora ran into Eddie THAWNE, they also ran into this one girl who was like an expert in time travel or whatever. So they go to her to find out basically how to stop people from being killed by the Royal Flush Gang without affecting the timeline. So Bart and Nora, they eventually are able to succeed in saving everyone and not affecting the timeline. Now, yeah, as I said before, the villain in this episode wasn't great, that of course being the Royal Flush Gang, but it was still pretty cool to see Bart and Nora time travel and whatnot. It was, it was cool to see another episode between the two. And then toward the end of Bart and Nora's time in 2013, we also see Iris, who looks, like she did back then in Season 1, and we basically see the start of Eddie and Iris's relationship. I think that was actually a pretty cool throwback scene to Season 1. We also see the picture being taken of the CCPD in New Year's of 2014, which obviously was emphasized in the last part of Armageddon, which foreshadowed this episode right here. But Nora and Bart going back to 2049 had some very interesting references. So first of all, we go back to 2049 and Jay is still alive, even though basically they, saved the timeline from, being destroyed. Jay also mentions that when he was starting out time traveling, he went back to World War II and then, stayed in the past in different times for like 16 years. Now, this World War II reference, I think, is a reference to when Jay Garrick's Flash was originally created, which was actually back during World War II, so I think that was a pretty cool reference right there. And Jay Garrick also makes a timeline, change joke. He says President Luther, which I think that was actually a pretty interesting reference to, President Luther. Obviously, I'm pretty sure still on Smallville's Earth, the TV show Smallville, I should say. The president is Lex Luthor, so I think that was a pretty interesting reference right there as well. So overall, this episode I'd say was still pretty good. I'd give it like an 8, 8.5 out of 10. However, there are some things that I wish we saw in this episode, like a villain, as I said before, like Captain Cold instead of the Royal Flush Gang. Well, not Captain Cold, just like Leonard Snart. Obviously, this was before he became Captain Cold. And then I was really hoping to see at least one scene with the original THAWNE pretending to be Wells. I think that would have been so cool. And then maybe an old scene with like Caitlin, Cisco, or Ronnie as well. But anyways, I'd say that's about it, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure to comment your thoughts on this video down below, as well as your thoughts on the episode. What'd you guys think of it? I'm actually really excited for, what else they've got for Season 8. Eddie Thawne's coming back. Ronnie Raymond mysteries are out there. We really don't know what's going to happen, so I'm really looking forward to it. So make sure you guys comment all your thoughts on that stuff down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.